I got into this business and started Lares Consulting Group because I've always been fascinated with how people think and why people do what they do. I have a psychology degree from Queen's University, which was really the foundation of figuring out how people tick, what drives people to do certain things. From there, actually in my final year of school, I managed a security business of over 80 employees. And it was in this business that I really got excited about what makes employees engaged, what makes them happy, what makes them more productive, and what really makes a business run from the employee perspective. And so after that, I knew that I wanted to do something in business and something with research. And from there, my career just sort of grew from there. Strategically for us, where we're seeing the most growth is in customer experience projects and customer journey projects, journey mapping. And we do this throughout the whole organization. So this does touch a lot on the marketing side. We do it a lot with marketing communications, messaging effectiveness, walking people through the stages there. We also do it a lot on the operations side. So in tech, that's a lot of being on someone's website, understanding why someone is bouncing from the cart or maybe earlier, how that's really working, what their journey is there, and then how we're finally delivering a product. So it is really from A to Z in terms of what is that customer's journey? How do they find out about you? What is the trigger or the drive that gets them to acquire or engage with your organization? And what is the result? And then what we work on there is prioritizing who are our key customers, who do we want our customers to be? And from there, how do we prioritize those customers? And how do we really drive value in terms of the services and the products that we're offering and how we're offering them? So we've always seen research be very focused on how do we drive value, what products do they want, what services do they want, and that's always been really strong. But right now we're seeing a huge emphasis on the how. How are people getting our service and products? What is their experience like? How is this experience for them? My favorite example, way back when we used to do a ton of grocery store research. We're seeing it, a little bit less now as grocery stores sort of figure out what they're up to with, added products. We're doing a lot on added products versus the core offering. You'll see somebody, I've done it millions of times. I run into a grocery store just to grab a couple of things. Maybe, bread, milk, some eggs, okay? Well, I've got to go to the bakery for bread, and by the time I get all the way down to the eggs, I might have 6 things in my hands, right? Those end caps really work. So I've grabbed, peanut butter and some other things that I didn't realize I needed. But by the time I get to the milk and eggs, I cannot hold it. I didn't grab a basket on my way in. And so this is really a really critical point for the grocer. If you have baskets placed throughout your store at key points, you will double the spend of these convenience shoppers, okay? So what we see here is you've doubled the spend, and we see the emotion of gratitude and relief and convenience. So those 3 emotions are then associated with your store. I know I can go in, I've always had a good experience. If I end up grabbing a few extra things, there's always a basket. I don't have to go back to the front. Stores without baskets, the emotion we see is frustration. And we don't see that increase in spend because they simply can't hold all of those things. They only have 10 minutes and they're not going back to the front for a basket. And so customer experience and journey mapping really allows us to make the difference between gratitude and doubling a spend versus frustration and just buying a few things. And so that's a huge benefit for us in terms of this area we're seeing a lot of growth in with the customer experience. We do a lot of work in the banking and financial sector. Something that's really important for our clients in this area is customer experience. And this is really key. We see this growing in all industries, but especially in terms of the banking industry where we're not seeing as much person-to-person interaction. You really have to get a hold on what your customer experience is, how you're controlling it, and how you're monitoring it. And when everything comes down to an online experience, a virtual experience, but when they need in person, they still want to come in and get the same experience that they've been used to and that they demand, there's a delicate balance between how do you prioritize which one and how do you make sure that the experience is what people are looking for and what people will remember you for and how they'll stay loyal. We do a lot of work in the employee engagement space as well. So for employee engagement projects and programs, we really work on understanding the employee engagement blind spots. And these are surprisingly different and similar at the same time for organizations. So we go in, we do a lot of interviewing with employees, we do a lot of surveying to really uncover what those blind spots are, where companies are putting their resources, and how we can figure out where better to use those resources. So we're seeing a lot of trends in this arena, especially with millennials. We're seeing millennials not driven as much by finances. They're driven much more by certain aspects within the culture, certain aspects of a big word for them is making an impact. And what we're seeing is implementation of programs around this area can be much more effective than throwing dollars in their direction. I also do a lot of writing with the Carey Business School, Johns Hopkins Carey Business School on this topic. And we've recently been exploring a culture phenomenon in terms of moral soundness within organizations. And so that's something we're starting to implement into our research and look more closely at within organizations as well. In 5 years, Lares Consulting Group is really going to be powering a lot of the Mid-Atlantic businesses in terms of their information needs. And what I mean by that is not a pure data need, but a translation need. So how are we taking the data that you're collecting it and making sure that you're not drowning in it? How are we pulling out key insights and making sure that they're helping you prioritize your business initiatives, they're helping drive your strategy, and they're helping you make the right decisions and smarter decisions to make sure you're positioned for continued growth and for your next 5 years.